Los Angeles. It is the Sunday night spectacular here on MMT. Thanks for being here as we discuss box office to start with. Also, one of the best films of 2023 just got out of Anatomy of a Fall. I'll tell you why that film excels across virtually every aspect of filmmaking that's upcoming here on this hour, this Sunday evening power hour. But we start with Killers of the Flower Moon. If you missed breaking box office earlier today, we discussed this being a disappointing debut. Why do I think it's disappointing? We'll discuss. Let me give you the numbers first. 23 million stateside, 21 overseas, 44 million global for this film. This is very important to note. Very crucial. The budget of a film is essential when you're discussing whether the box office for an opening is acceptable. And this is a $200 million film. So let me ask you a question. Is it fair that we are going to put this under a different lens as we evaluate the opening of Killers of the Flower Moon? Is it fair to say, well, this is an adult drama? Of course it is. But let's just stick to budget. If we had a $200 million MCU film, which we have, right? Or we've come really close. We've come close. Certainly those big CGI effect heavy tentpole films, 200 million, that's par for the course these days. So if one of those films opened at 23 stateside, 21 overseas, 44 global, you all be like, oh my God, it's terrible. So we're not going to pretend that this is a whiz bang. Oh my God, let's celebrate, pop the cork. It's time for the biggest opening of the year. No, it's not. It's 23 million. Okay, let's focus stateside. That is significantly under the most recent Scorsese films that we can compare it to. Go back to The Departed, Shutter Island before that. If you look at The Departed, this is about 2,000 per screen under that. For Shutter Island, it's half of what that film did. So this is not the best start for this film. I'm going to tell you what happened, but here's what I want to do. I want to show you guys some articles, and this is why you have me. This is why you have Mr. Objective. I love the film. I wanted this thing at 40 million, you guys. Now, granted, that was bullish, but a lot of people had it at 30. This is at 23. So this is at least 25% roughly underneath about 30, right? 40, I was going crazy. But why can't? Here's the question. I'm going to look at Variety, then I'm going to ask you the question. And you guys need to be honest with me. I want you to tell me, because I know I'm right. I'm always right. I'm always right. It just gets old being right. 97, no, 99.7, not 97.9, 97, 99. Here we go. Look, it says it impresses with 23 million debut. Rebecca Rubin, it's fine. It's not a bomb, but it's also not some number that we should be going, yeah, let's celebrate. Here's the key takeaway as we get ready to discuss this film and what happened. Apple has to leave this as only in theaters, theatrical exclusive. You cannot put this on streaming in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month. I say you got to wait till about Christmas, because here's what you're doing. Apple just put billions into their theatrical department. They want to have a legitimate theatrical footprint like the Paramounts, the Sonys, the Warner Brothers, the Disneys. In fact, as you may know, Paramount partnered with this, and then Napoleon, they partner with Sony. So once they get that done and they figure it out for themselves, they're going to go Apple all on their lonesome. And that's what they're trying to do. So if you're trying to do that, you do not put this on streaming. You just don't do it, okay? So that's the first thing that we need to discuss. For you, Apple, don't you dare put this on streaming. That would be disastrous to your future as a theatrical programmer, as a studio looking to put that footprint down. Here are the reasons why the film underperformed. And yes, it did underperform. I don't care what you guys tell me. Come in the comments. I will blow you all up. It's like you will lose all day, all night on this. The runtime reluctance. I discussed it this morning on Breaking Box Office. Many people I spoke to outside of the typical film person circle, right? The cinephile circle that I have regular folk out there saying, hey, I'm excited. I want to see Killers of the Flower Moon, but I heard it's 3.5 hours long. Is it? It is? Okay. Well, I'm going to take a pass, or I'm going to wait, or I'll just wait to streaming, because that sounds like something I could watch in 3 nights, like The Irishman. That was one of my big complaints. The number one complaint of The Irishman is it's way too long. This film is too long, but it's not as real feel heavy as The Irishman. I think it's a better film for sure than The Irishman. But still, 3.5 hours is a lot to ask, and a lot of people said, I'm out. I don't want to sit through 3.5 hours. I told you guys I saw Nightmare last night, Nightmare Before Christmas. It's an hour and 16 minutes. What a difference. You feel refreshed. You come out going, hey, I could watch more movie. After Killers of the Flower Moon, you're like, holy crap, I think I need a break for a long time. It's like a transatlantic flight, for God's sake. Number 2 is going back to Apple. They're seen as a streamer, right? When you look at Apple TV Plus, they clearly are a Netflix, an Amazon, a Hulu. That's how people view them. So until Apple gets that cemented, that they are a studio the same as a Warner Brothers, a Paramount, a Sony, a Universal, as soon as they can get there, then you won't have that question as much. But right now, people are like, wait, that's an Apple show. I'll just wait. Even if it's a couple months, I'll just wait. So they have to fight that, and that's why they have to leave this in theaters. Theatrical exclusivity is everything. The other reason this film did not do as well opening weekend is the heavy subject matter, right? Because it is such a dark film, right? Some of the atrocities committed in this film. It's not the kind of thing the average person wants to sit through and feel rejuvenated on a Saturday afternoon. Now, you're going to say Oppenheimer, and I'm glad you're saying Oppenheimer right now, because here we go with Oppenheimer. Let me bring this in. Oppenheimer is not an uplifting film either, right? Agreed. It's also 3 hours, a little shorter, but still very long film. But here's the thing. You're going to tell me, and you still can't tell me this, that Barbenheimer certainly helped Oppenheimer. But when you look at Oppenheimer at 80 plus million for debut, stateside, just 80, stateside, and you're telling me that a Scorsese film with Leo and with Robert, all 3 of them cannot muster half of Oppenheimer? Don't tell me Nolan is 4X Nolan? Is he? Is Scorsese falling that far that now we are looking at Nolan as 4X higher, right? Because essentially that's right. 20 times 4, 80. He's 4 times less the director. Are we really at that point? Maybe I don't know, man. Maybe I've just lost the whole thing, because I respect Nolan, but who doesn't respect Scorsese? I know the kids don't as much. They didn't know Nolan before Barbenheimer, most of them. Don't come in here and tell me that it is a absolutely slam dunk debut. Someone came in the comments this morning. I'm like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't come into my channel telling me shit that I know is right, and because you don't know what you're talking about. Don't do that. Come in here with comments that are smart. Let's go. Producer Nate on the scene here tonight, and he's ready to go. He's got some comments for us. Let's go. Producer Nate, what we got? Give me the best one. Give me the best. You're wrong about what you're talking about, and here it is. Producer Nate's sleeping already. Looks like I have to take over again. Forget what I said. Producer Nate is out already. Can't be here for spoilers. Moon didn't see. We're not doing spoilers, Omega Swiper. We're not doing it. Great marketing for Apple TV Plus. Yes. What will Flowers box office be next week? Good question. I would say, look at this. When you look at the coming weeks, it has to hold at 40 or better. It cannot drop 50. It needs to hold at 40 and hold. How will it do that? It'll do that by Apple not putting it on streaming or announcing the streaming date, okay? That is going to be the key here, 100%. Swaz Perkins, MCU movies are made for this money. This is trying to get awards. Agreed, we know that. Apple wants to win another Best Picture. I know it is absolutely still unbelievable to everybody, including me, that they won for Coda. That film won Best Picture. It's like we're living in a bizarro world when that was announced. But this would be their second Best Picture win. Should it? It'll be a heavy contender. It'll be right there with Oppenheimer, Barbie, Color Purple. Those 4 are the 4 huge films. I know people are throwing Past Lives in there. Get out of here with your Past Lives. If that film contends for Best Picture, we are going to disband the entire Academy. It's over. It is done. After Coda, Everything Everywhere, and Past Lives, there would be no reason to ever even pay attention to the Oscars again with that trifecta of overrated films in a row. Because what do we do now in society? We don't value true talent. We try to check off boxes. Here comes the anti-woke shit, but I'm not even anti-woke. But I am never going to tell you that a film is better because the director's a woman, because it is directed by a minority, because it's directed by a white man. We're not going to do that. The film is a film, man. What are we doing? But yet Hollywood loves to, oh, this is a better cause. We're going to do this because it makes us feel, no, how about you pick the better film? It is not hard. We are not asking you to do much other than to do it meritoriously. Look at it and base your vote on merit. If you truly believe that Everything Everywhere is the best film of the year, first of all, you're nuts. But second of all, go for it. But if you're trying to give it Best Picture because of what it represents, you're doing it wrong, and we can't have that. That thinking is everything that's wrong with the world today. We don't do that. I have never in my life, I can't believe I have to do this again, never in my life have I valued someone less or more because of their race, because of their sex. They are a human being, and that is that. Apple and Paramount knew it was never going to make money. They wanted the awards prestige, but still $200 million. It's a big number, Renee, and that's why we have to be critical of this number. You can't just push it aside and say it's fine. What's going to be key, and we saw this happen with Wolf of Wall Street, didn't open huge, but it ended up killing it. Now, remember, that was Christmas Corridor, if I'm not mistaken. Someone come in and tell me that's a Christmas Corridor movie. What happens with virtually every Christmas Corridor movie? Go back and look at Avatar 2. Before that, Greatest Showman, Sing. So many movies in that Christmas Corridor of late. Go back and look at Wolf of Wall Street. When you're in that Christmas Corridor, you are banking cash on a Monday the same as a regular Saturday because everyone is off. They're going to movies Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's how that film shot up so high, so fast, and it ended up with that multiple that's insane. Here, you don't have that. You're opening this thing up in middle to end of October. You've got 2 months until the Christmas Corridor. Obviously, this film will not be in theaters at that point. You have to sustain this for the next month minimum. This film needs a long run. It has to have that, and if it doesn't, you had 27, Maville. Yeah, I mean, exactly, 27 to 30. A lot of people had it 30. I went way over. I'm not going to lie to you at 40. I went way over, way over. But I just told you the reasons why. It's not hard. More critics need to ensure people it's an easy watch regardless of runtime. But here's the thing, though, Goober, is that even if that's the case, that it's an easy runtime, right? Quote unquote, it feels easy. It's still 3.5 hours. So no matter what you tell the person that it doesn't feel like 3.5 hours, they're still going to go, it is 3.5 hours. So you can't win. The key is we need to, and we talked about it this morning, and I'm doing it again for how many times have we talked about this? The director's cut needs to be reserved for the home viewing, the 4K Ultra, Blu-ray, whatever the hell it is. I don't even have any of them because I watch everything on streaming. I collect these FYC screeners. That's it. Okay. Last time I put a DVD in something, I don't even remember last time I put a disc in anything. My God, I don't even know. It's been years. So that's when you save the director's cut. You don't put the director's cut in theaters. If it's streaming, it's a gray area. Of course, Netflix is going to let it happen because they let directors do whatever they want. So, of course, they're going to. But why do we have this now director's cut in theaters? Because I can tell you why. Because the streamers came in and said, if you want to make a movie with us, we'll let you do whatever you want. And that's the problem. You can't just let people do whatever they want. I have a channel here and do whatever I want. And clearly, at times, it's not a good thing. In fact, I would argue most of the time, it's not a good thing here. But I don't have to answer to a $200 million budget, right? I don't have to answer to 4,000 screens across the country and no one going to watch. Okay, so that's part of the equation. Swaz Perkins, it has a classic award season run. It'll be in theaters for a while. Not sure if we'll see awards runs like we used to again. I agree with that because it's a whole different world, right? Streaming has changed the way people go to theaters. Tonight I saw Anatomy of a Fall, which is Neon's hopeful Best Picture. I'm going to talk about it momentarily. Really strong film. Okay. But when you go back in the past, you'd look at a movie like Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, very similar, right? Awards films. And you would get a nice long run in theaters. Now you have people that are so used to watching their drama on streamers that they are like, well, I'll just wait for it at home, or I'll just watch Succession or any number of great television shows. I don't watch them, but I know you guys say they're good. I'm going to trust you. Hacks, Severance, on and on, whatever they are. Well, all the big shows. I watched Ozark. That's it. But a lot of people are going to go there. They're not going to watch Anatomy of a Fall or Killers of the Flower Moon. They just know it's Apple and they'll just wait. But yeah, we're not going to see that anymore. Definitely no question whatsoever. Most people don't know about studios, just the new Leo movie. You're right. It's inside baseball to talk about the studio, but you can tell, you're not going to tell me that people don't know that it's an Apple. Like, it's been everywhere. If you watch the commercials they've been running on football and everywhere else on television, it always has the Apple logo. So instantly you're like, if you know anything about Apple, you're like, they don't have a theatrical thing. It's streaming, right? Just think about that. Donald, you're overthinking it. When people see that logo, they're going to think streaming. You have to, it's all about, right, the optics, and that takes time to get people to realize that that logo doesn't just mean streaming. And right now, Apple means streaming. Netflix clearly means streaming. They don't even try to do theatrical. As streamers transition to distribution game, they're going to have to play a little more hardball with filmmakers regarding runtime, marketability, accessibility of story, free rides over. Alex, this is one of the best comments we ever had on Gold Star You. I don't usually do that. I'm a Gold Star. It's fantastic. It's so true. It's all we talk about here. And I know everyone goes, why do you care so much? Because I hope to one day be able to make that decision. And if not, I don't even care if I don't get the opportunity. I want you to know that I'm calling it here and telling you that everything Alex talking about is 100% accurate. You can't just give these directors carte blanche anymore. Here's the check. Netflix has paid a severe price. Guess how many people have lost jobs down at Netflix over decisions to just give these directors as much money as you want. Here you go. Take it. We don't even care what you make, because it turns out to be a disaster for them, like a Gray Man. I can't even believe they're talking about making a Gray Man 2. Now, Grant, maybe the film made them money somehow. It was $200 million for that piece of shit film. I would never allow that to happen. I certainly would never work with them again. There's no chance that they're ever making a movie with me again after watching Cherry and after watching The Gray Man, the Russo brothers. I'm not working with you. Like, it's over. It's 100% over. We're not doing another film. It's not going to happen. Quickly on this, and we'll get into Taylor Swift. Nightmare Before Christmas is a children's film. Length is, yeah, I get it, but children's films now are 150, right, John? They're not 116. A chunk of my soul was taken from me watching this last night. This is what cinema's about. It's such a great film, isn't it? It really is. And so is Anatomy of a Fall. We'll discuss that in seconds, but I want to discuss Taylor Swift because there's an article I saw that I went, oh my God. By the way, we'll come back in with Killers of the Flower Moon. No problem with that. I'll bring back comments. We'll do that, but I want to move on, and then we can come back, circle back to it before the hour is complete here on the Sunday night. Thanks for being here, MMT. If you've not liked, subscribe, do so right now. I appreciate it. Taylor Swift, she has won the top spot again, 31 million, down 67%. That's a big number, right? Down huge. But you got to figure that was going to happen. The Swifties ran out, saw it opening weekend. And yeah, there's going to be repeat viewing, but the other people who didn't see it, they're largely like, I'm already over. Yeah, I don't even think I'm going to see it again. And that's the issue, is you don't have that new audience coming in, and the old people are like, we already saw it. It's 3 hours long, too. It's a long time. Okay, but here's the article I want to show you guys. And you guys are going to be like, what in the hell is this, dude? This article, these kind of things, when I see these, make me go, are we kidding? Who wrote this? Like, who thinks this? Hold on, I got to pull it up again. Give me a second. I jacked up my present screen function. Here it comes. I read this in Variety, and it says, will Taylor Swift's monster success of the Eras Tour bring back the concert film? It should. Should it? Do you guys, can you tell me something? Would this film be sitting on 120-some million domestic alone if it were anyone other than Taylor Swift? People are acting like any musical artist could do what Taylor Swift has done with the Eras Tour, the film. There's no chance. There's a 0% chance. I don't care who you name right now. Come in the comments right now. Name another musical artist that could do this. No, the Beyonce, I can tell you right now, the Beyonce concert film is not going to do these numbers. Because the difference is, and I know the media will not tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this, is that Taylor Swift is another level. Taylor Swift connects with like heartland America. You have young kids, young girls going. Beyonce, a little of that, but not nearly like Taylor Swift. Trust me, you guys don't know it's not going to happen. It's not. Beyonce's film is not going to do these numbers. It's just not. It's not going to bomb, but it's not going to do Taylor Swift numbers. There's no chance. There's a 0% chance. 0%. It'll be successful, but it won't do. That's my point. That's fine, but it's not going to do Taylor Swift numbers. The Swifties are a whole nother level. She has the biggest fan base in all forms of entertainment, 100% Gone Girl, biggest pop star in the world. Nobody. This is what I'm talking about. And it's not, by the way, there's someone out there shouting. I know there is. And this is what, oh man, you know where I'm going with this. And I'm going to do it because it drives me nuts. If anyone out there is going, well, Taylor Swift is one and Beyonce is another. If we're going to we're not doing the race thing. We're not doing it, man. It's not happening. That's not what we're doing here. I'm telling you that Taylor Swift is a bigger musical artist around the globe than Beyonce. End of discussion, period. There's nothing more to discuss. That's it. Has nothing to do with skin color. Just like none of the evaluations that I've ever put out from this microphone have had anything to do with the color of anyone's skin. Never. It never will. And that's the thing. And people who think that way, and I know there's someone out there who did that. Be better. Be a better person. Don't do that shit. You are actively making the world a worse place. Don't be that person. Seriously, don't. You just move off that. Women are missing mortgage payments to see Beyonce in concert. The young kids aren't going. The young families aren't going. It's just not the same. Trust me. I know I'm right. Stop making sense. Top 3 concert film. Yeah, exactly. Talking Heads versus that. Oh no, now we got the Beyonce Kanye. I can't. I just want to do that quick, but just so you guys know, and I know exactly. She is Michael Jackson, Prince. Go back and look at Madonna. Right, she's that level. Beyonce's not that. I don't care what you tell me. You can tell me whatever you want. I'm just telling you she's not. Okay, that's just the reality of it. So sorry. that's just I don't know how else to put it any other way. All right, let's move off this and let's get back to cinema. Let's not do the pop star evaluation stuff. All right, let's do an MMT evaluation though. You guys ready? Here comes Anatomy of a Fall. This is the latest Neon film, debuted at Cannes and was so acclaimed it won the Palme d'Or, which is, of course, the best film in competition at Cannes. I've had this thing circled forever. I mean, going back to when it debuted in May in France, I wanted to see this thing, and finally, I had a chance to see it tonight, and it did not disappoint one bit. And the number one reason why this film is as great as it is it does something we don't get enough of in cinema, and that is ambiguity. We get everything spelled out for us. Every ending is wrapped up nicely in the bow. Well, guess what? This film doesn't. It makes you decide, did she kill her husband or not? That's not a spoiler. They've marketed that. I'm not breaking anything, some kind of embargo, that I am telling you that this film revolves around a novelist and her husband who mysteriously falls out of the top floor of their chalet up in the Alps that they are renovating. And then the whole film is about, did she or did she not club him in the head? And then he falls to his demise. And their young son is there. He plays a part. I don't want to get into all of the plot points of the film because I think I've given you plenty right there. But the reason that this film resonates the way that it does is that you are left wondering the entire time, did she or did she not murder her husband? And that is awesome because we don't get that very often. Even at the end, we don't get resolution. How many films have I told you that I love that don't end how you want them to end? You go back, 2 of them I always bring up. Up in the Air. Why? Up in the Air is truly a fantastic, borderline masterpiece for me. You go back and you look at why that film is as great as it is. So many reasons, because it's the film of the time. He's going around firing everybody when the economy's going to hell. There's that. But the real reason I always come back to Up in the Air, and it's a small thing, but it's a massive thing, is at the end of the movie, when George Clooney goes to visit, what's her name from the Conjuring universe? He goes up, knocks on the door. She answers, and she's like, I told you never to come here. And you're like, oh, shit, what's that? She's married, and they don't end up together. How fantastic is that choice? I love that. Then you go to a La La Land. Everyone, La La Land, the songs are not fantastic. The songs from Greatest Showman so far superior to the songs of La La Land. Sing a La La Land song for me. Sing it one, just one. Give me one La La Land song. Go. Sing me a Greatest Showman. This is me, right? Boom. There, you already have it. This is me. And there's plenty more. Never enough. So many. That soundtrack was so big because the songs were so great. But why is that film so masterful? Because at the end, Emma and Ryan don't end up together. And it's within that sadness that you find the heart of the film, because you realize that they didn't end up together, but yet they both achieved what they wanted to achieve, but they couldn't do that together. That's why the film is so incredible. And that's why a film like Anatomy of a Fall is so much stronger than many of the films you see, because of that ambiguity, because it's not tidy. It doesn't finish how you want it to finish, and that's awesome. Here we go. Directorial choices throughout the film. When you look at what Justine Triet does here, that's the first film I've seen from her. When you watch a very skilled director in action, you see things like edits that all of a sudden are literally the definition of perfection. As this film starts to finish, there's a scene where the son is discussing something that his father told him. And the way that is executed and edited is one of the best scenes I have seen this year in cinema, no question whatsoever. And throughout the film, you're left with that very minimal direction, but the choices are chef's kiss. And then we have Sandra Huller, who is the lead here. If we are not talking about Sandra Huller as a Best Actress top 5 at the end of this year, when we get ready to start slotting for the Oscars, if Sandra Huller is not included in that top 5, we are doing it wrong. Now, I do understand. I have other films to see, but I can tell you, after you watch a performance that's at this level, there's no way that she is going to be out. No chance. It's that high. It's that strong. This is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Highly recommend. Obviously, anytime I get a score like that, I want you to go see the film. Go check out Anatomy of a Fall. It is limited right now. It should be in your neighborhood very shortly in the next couple of weeks. All right, to the comments here as we get ready. Anyone else who saw it, tell me. We're talking about, I see you guys are talking about Vera Farmiga. Thank you. You're talking about Up in the Air. And also, she's fantastic. We talk about the Conjuring universe. But before that, Vera Farmiga was in all kinds of really strong performances in great films, Up in the Air. And as you guys mentioned, so many other films back in that like 2010 to 2020, that decade. She was just all over the place. So good. So good. The kid actor is very good in the film. Totally agree. And did I say Decision to a Fall? No, it's Anatomy of a Fall. If I didn't say it, if I said did I say Decision to Fall? It's supposed to be Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah, I got excited. What can I tell you? Searchlight Pictures, Poor Thing's going to win Oscars. No way, Kevin. I'll book that right now tonight. I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it. Here's the thing I'm going to tell you is that from what I understand, it's not as accessible as, let's say, something like Oppenheimer, Barbie, or Killers of the Flower Moon. And as such, it's not going to win. It's not going to win. I can tell you right now, I haven't seen it, but I'm promising you, everyone I've talked to says it's very specific, and that means it's weird. That means it's a film Twitter film. Film Twitter is not the real world, even though last year they championed everything everywhere, and we saw what happened with that. So, I just don't think that's going to be happening. Anatomy of a Fall was good. Runtime's definitely a little long, but I remember, I'm going to jack that score up on the back end of it when I get to scenes that really pop, right? They hit the top of the meter. When we're popping the top, then we are in a level that I'm ready to go, and I want to see that's no way for me to go down from that. So yes, runtime 2.5, could have been told about 2, but I don't think the film loses the momentum at any point in the movie. Was I like, okay, I'm totally out? Could it be shaved? No question about it. But again, I'm not going to hammer it. Sometimes I'm going to hammer these films for long length. Sometimes I'm going to let them off depending on how good all of those minutes are. If the minutes are universally strong across all, let's say, 2.5 hours here, pretty much, then I'm going to have that score really high. If I'm watching a 2.5, 3 hour movie, Beau is Afraid, that is not strong across all 180 minutes and makes you want to get up and do damage to the physical screen showing the movie, then I'm not going to give a score to that. So, yeah, gotcha. Decision to Leave. Yeah, no, Decision to Leave has that ambiguity, but it doesn't really. Yes, but I think we all know what happens at the end. This film, you don't know. At the end of Anatomy of a Fall, you do not know whether she is guilty or innocent. We have an idea. I have a strong suspicion, and I'd love to discuss that with you at some point when you guys see the movie. But I'm not ruining anything by telling you that. Jose, can't wait to see Poor Things. I've heard some things that make you more intrigued. I love Yorgos' filmmaking, so I know I'm going to like the film from that aspect. But the question is how accessible is it going to be? Emma Stone is one of the best actresses out there. We haven't had her for a while either. That always helps. Listen, Taylor Swift has mastered this. The importance of disappearing. And frankly, I think we should just take MMT and make it disappear for like 6 months. I mean, why not? What could hurt? But if we did, then you might, this is a long big might want to watch it more because, right, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Therefore, Emma Stone, very smart. Obviously, she had her kid. So that was one of the reasons she disappeared. But when you're always in the public's face, people get tired of you, right? If I did a show every night of the week, which I used to do 3, now I'm down to 2, because I think that less is more. And frankly, when you're doing an hour of this, and now I've even tried to condense some of that other stuff, when there's not as much material to work with, thank God we're in award season. As you guys know, in September, it was like a dead zone. August was bad. When there's not much to talk about, then you're kind of stuck. Like, what are we going to do? I could start doing what these other YouTubers start making shit up or talking about Marvel movies all the time, like Gorsha. Hey, with this Marvel movie, this Star Wars character, let's put Star Wars on trial. I'm not going to do that shit. I'm not going to do that. The one thing I might do for Halloween is like the top 10 horror films of the past decade, right? That's fun. We could do that. But I'm not going to do Marvel stuff. I know people are like, oh, the Marvel stuff's so much fun to talk about. Well, I guess it is for a moment or two. Reversal of Fortune feel. It's got a, what it has for me, Sham, more than anything, it just has a feel of minimalist filmmaking, which I'm always going to like, right? What is Tar? Minimal. Very minimal. Very little score. I told you, I asked Todd Field about that. What happened to Hildor's score? He's like, it's there. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not there, Todd. I didn't hear it. He's like, it's there at the very bottom. Like, that doesn't count. I love minimalism in filmmaking. I go back and look at the Dardenne brothers, always bring them up, go back and look at L'Enfant, go back and look at 2 Days and, 2 Days and 2 Nights, whatever the hell that film is from a few years ago. Watch their filmmaking. It's very cinema verite. I love that kind of stuff, and that's exactly what this is. That is what Trier does here with this film. Best horror films of all time. We could do that. The thing is we're going to have to, then we're going to get into the films you already know about. If we do the best horror films of the past 5 years, then you're going to be talking about things that you probably haven't seen. When you do the all time, then of course you got to do Exorcist, right? You got to do, for me, I'd put Friday the 13th in there for sure. Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me. But I'm saying, these are all things you know. I don't want to do that. I want to talk about things you don't know about. Why do I want to talk about these things that like Marvel all day? You guys already know about Marvel. What are we talking about? Like, I don't want to do that shit. No offense, John. I'm just saying. Sandra Huller is very good in Zone of Interest. I agreed. I've seen both films. Obviously, that role doesn't require nearly the level of impact. Listen, this is a heavy ass role. She has so much to carry here. In Zone of Interest, there's very little dialogue. It's very minimal. It's shot like a documentary. She shares the screen with her husband. I don't even know the guy's name, German guy. But this is definitely her. This is her film, right? This is her centerpiece. She's the lead, And this is one of the best performances of the year. It's the best female performance I've seen this year. It's been a weak year. As I let me pull up awards days. Let me look real quick. As I look here at the best actress standings, I'm thinking to myself, do I even, I don't know, other than, like I said, Sandra Huller, who I just saw. I mean, Margot Robbie okay, let's talk about the ones I've seen and the ones I'm gonna see. Okay, so of the ones I've seen this year, Margot Robbie is fine in Barbie. She gets better as the film goes on, okay? Greta Lee in Past Lives, no chance. No way. No way is she top 5. I mean, not a universe. Lily Gladstone for sure is in my top 5. I would still have Huller ahead of Gladstone because of what Huller has to do in Anatomy of a Fall. Remember, we talk about it all the time. If there's more meat on the bone, then I'm going to go for the actress who has more to go with. Same with supporting. Whoever had the harder job and more material to work with and had more weight on her shoulders. That's not to suggest that Lily Gladstone didn't. We talked about how she had to go toe-to-toe with Leo and Robert De Niro. That's not easy. That's really difficult. My God, she had to be up for it. And you guys heard the story. She apparently was already get out of acting before she got the call from Scorsese and then got the role. She's fantastic, but I still have to hold her above her. Let's continue along the line of people that we see. I'm not going to watch Carey Mulligan and Maestro. I told you guys about Netflix. I'm not watching a single Netflix movie, so that's not happening. She might be amazing, and I'm sorry, Carey. I don't know what to tell you. Work with the studio that puts their movies in theaters, okay? Not in some random indie theater that I got to drive 45 minutes to. I'm talking about AMC, Regal, Cinemark, the big theaters. That's it, big chains. You don't work with that studio, so I'm not going to watch your film. Rosamund Pike, I want to see Saltburn. Saltburn's going to be at AMC, at Regal, and I've heard she's very good in that. May, December, not going to watch it. Netflix, sorry, she's out. Julia Roberts, you're out too. That's another Netflix movie. Foe's going nowhere. I just have to look at who I have here. Emma Stone's in for sure for Poor Things. We know she's in. I don't think she wins. Well, that's where it could win, actually. Haven't seen it yet, but that's where the film could. It's not going to win Best Picture. If it wins Best Picture, I will be flabbergasted. I can't believe I have Emily Blunt from Pain Hustlers. I got to update the site. That's not happening. That is definitely not happening. What's the best performance you've seen from a lead? How about that, you guys? Give me that. What have you seen this year? Because maybe Annette Bening and Anaya, but I'm not going to see it, Joe. It's a Netflix movie, so I can't do it. That's it. It is interesting. Now, sometimes we do struggle to pick 5. Thank you, Tucker. I really do appreciate the fact that you respect that. It's a stance for sure. Nobody else will do that. Not one other person, not one other critic, because they're all a bunch of simps. They're studio simps. All of them, including Gore. Ask him if he'll do that. He won't do it. Because you know what they'll say? They'll say, one guy got into the other day, said, well, what's it matter? That's you're the problem. You see, you're the problem we have in the world. No one's taking a stand on some things. And I know I'm taking a stand on Netflix movies. But the point is that why is Netflix playing a different game? Why are they able to just say, we're not going to do theatrical, but everyone else is, but we're not going to do it because it's not our business model. It wasn't Apple's business model. They're doing it. It wasn't Amazon's business model. They're doing it. Neon, I could just go, I watched Anatomy of Fall at the AMC. I can't watch a Netflix movie. I can watch a tiny art house neon movie at AMC, but yet Netflix, screw Netflix. Screw Netflix. Until they turn it around, they're persona non grata. I don't even want to talk about their films. They don't exist to me. All of Us Strangers could get an Oscar nomination. I saw the trailer tonight. You know what's wild? It's really weird. I've told you these stories before, and I really need you guys to believe me because it's true. I can't make this shit up. It's too weird. I'm sitting down at the AMC 6. I'm watching the trailers, and I had not yet seen the trailer for All of Us Strangers. And I'd heard really good things about just, early word from it, and the trailer's badass. Or at least just, it's a really strong trailer. So I'm watching it, and all of a sudden, first of all, they're using Pet Shop Boys, Always on My Mind. And I'm like, okay, are you kidding me? But I know you guys you're not going to believe me. I'm going to tell you something. Years ago, I used to have 2 different versions of Always on My Mind on my iPod. I don't know, it's not anymore, but at the old days, the iPod. And I had not the instrumental, the beatless version, right? Whatever you want to call it, the ambient version. And I would play the ambient version of Always on My Mind, which I believe is one of the best. I love that remake of theirs. Pet Shop Boys, one of my favorite acts of the 80s. I've seen them in concert 4 times. I love the Pet Shop Boys. but I used to play the vocal version, and then I would ramp it straight into the club mix where it's like, dun, 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 and then I would play, and that's exactly what the trailer does. I go, what? I'm watching the trailer, and I'm like, holy shit. They take the vocal version, and then they ramp it into a little bit of the actual version of Always on My Mind. I'm like, oh my God. I'm telling you guys, I can't make this shit up. Like, that would be weird to make what I just made up. And I go, it's weird because you know what it tells me? I know this is going to sound, I'm sorry, it's the truth, because I have to tell you what the reality is. I have good taste because I was doing that 4 years ago in my car, and then I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, oh my God, they're doing it in the trailer. My point is when I get back, here comes Weber again. Some people are talented at doing this and some people aren't. Some people have a vision, some people don't. That's the reality of it. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Whatever it is, I can thank my mom and my dad in my experiences in life. I have a pretty good base at evaluating films and I think artistic value. It's not something that the average person possesses. It takes time. First of all, you have to have a basic talent for it. You can't manufacture it. We talk about it all the time. I just watched the Dolphins and the Eagles, right? Can I ever run like Tyreek Hill? No. Can I run like Waddle? Can I throw the ball like what's his ass Hurts? Can I do? No, I can't do any of those things. I can throw a football. I'm athletic, play volleyball. I know. I mean, listen, you guys know I go to the gym, but I can't do these things. I'm not like Tyreek Hill. He'd blow. Why are we pretending? I say, here we are again, because I need you guys to. I want to really focus on this again one more time. Why do we pretend that anybody can stand in front of a mic and evaluate films? Why do we pretend that anybody can just start talking about film reviewing and they're good at it? Well, then that just means I can go play in the NFL tomorrow, right? Because anyone can do anything. Well, of course. Yeah, you're good at everything. No, you're not. Some people aren't. Sorry, it's a reality of it. It's a reality. I know, it's so mean. It's so mean. Is Pike supporting? Okay. All right. Well, then she's in for sure. I got to flip that over. The problem is with the top horror films, Jose, is that it's going to be so many cliche films that you guys know. I'd have to sit on that, but I mean, first of all, The Exorcist is in there. Again, I told you, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, probably, I know this is going to sound really weird to you guys, but I don't care. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, that's demented shit. Texas Chainsaw 2 is like insanity. I remember watching that thing, and I was still pretty young, and I go, oh my God, this is violent as hell. And it's gleeful in its violence, right? Studio simps, you know it. They're studio simps. They're like, I gotta have my access. If Netflix doesn't invite me to the party, then what am I? Who cares? I go to these parties now and I walk in and out. Like Weber was here and he left. It doesn't matter. All I want to see is the movies. Like tonight, I had a great time watching Anatomy of a Fall by myself. Anatomy of a Fall by myself at the 6. I don't even want to be like in a room full of a bunch of people. I don't like that. That's why I like doing this channel. It's like just me shooting the shit. And it's more introverted, right? And I think ultimately I can do the extroverted stuff, but I really am truly just more of like a in my own head thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's different. I didn't see. I'm gonna trust you guys on Night. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just not gonna watch it. Someone mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm gonna see it this week. I don't know if I'm gonna see it Wednesday or Thursday. If I see it Wednesday, there'll be a reaction stream immediately after short. If I see it on Thursday, we'll just do the stream as normal, on Thursday night stream. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say disappointed over Friday, Five Nights at Freddy's. This is a film that should be theatrical only, and instead we are getting it on day and date in Peacock. They've done it again. They did that with Halloween Kills. They did with Ends too, didn't they? They did both those films day and date. I hate it. I don't know what they're doing other than trying to drive up Peacock subscriber base. I understand, but you're lessening the value of your film. It makes me wonder if the film's any good, because we all know Halloween Ends sucked ass. So if Five Nights at Freddy's is as bad as Halloween Ends, then that means we see why they put it on there. But I'll let you guys know. Pet Shop Boys concert film, what outgrows eras? For me, I would go see the Pet Shop Boys concert film like 10 times. I said I've seen it 4 times. Once in Detroit, Orlando, where was the other place? Boston. Maybe it was only 3. The one in Detroit was amazing. That was the performance tour, which was their, I think, 1991. That was like a theatrical show. It was something else. I drove all the way to Detroit from Columbus, Ohio, And I know, Todd, you're in Columbus. And I watch Pet Shop Boys do perform. It's unbelievable. There's probably videos of performance out there. Check it out. They're so good. Film and book reviewers in the past actually were journalists first and reviewers second. And it's funny, Jeff, that you mentioned that. Most print reviewers didn't start there. Now you got a phone. Yeah, 100%. You're exactly right. You know, it's interesting. For those of you who don't know, I started in journalism. And that's what I did. I mean, I used to be a TV news guy. I went around the country. I used to be a TV sports guy, a TV news guy. I did the morning anchor thing, right? You guys, I'll play you a video. Not tonight. I'm not going to do it tonight. At some point in the near future, I'll drag up my best of reel from when I was like the Good Day LA guy in Boston, Orlando, Charlotte. And you're like, what? What am I watching? But that's where it started. But it's all based in journalism. Like, for whatever reason, listen, I was raised, obviously, in the 80s. I'm a Gen Xer. I was raised in reporting, in truth. Gen Xers are no bullshitters, right? Anyone who is one, Ken Murray, if he's on the line here tonight, he'll tell you, we're no bullshit. So when we come to reviewing, we don't bring any of that stuff in there. But it's true. You have to be a reporter on one level because you're reporting the facts of the film, and then you are gauging how the film goes about delivering what it's trying to accomplish. That's how the review goes. So when I'm reviewing Anatomy of a Fall, I'm not reviewing it against Five Nights at Freddy's. I know that those are completely different tasks that the directors are seeking. So when you watch it, you have to know what you are evaluating it against. What you're looking for is the best version of the film that the story is telling, right? Whatever that story the director's trying to tell, is it the best film version of that story? And I know that sounds strange because you're like, how do you know? Because you'll know by what works and what doesn't, what elements are exceptional, what elements are elite plus, as we talk about so often. When we start talking about those things, then we know we have probably delivered the best possible version of the story on the page that we didn't know we would get on the screen. That is the evaluation. And I know that's very different from a lot. I wasn't on ISN. I was on, that's good. They were the competitors, Jeff. I was on Channel 4. I was on, oh my God, what was the name of the channel now? I'm forgetting. In Milwaukee. Channel 4. Yeah, that one. Yeah, there's video of me. I was a sports guy. All right, 15 minutes. Anything you want to do, let's do it. Let's rip the lid off and do it. A $200 to $400 million budget for Killers of the Flower Moon. Too much. Where's the money? These budgets, Apple and Amazon are going to get tired no matter how much money they have. Cell phone, good to have you back. Listen, here's the reality is they have money to burn, right? Amazon and Apple have money to burn, and they want to get in the game so bad. There's so many stories in this town of producers who come in, and the reason they become producers is because they have money. They back films. They budget. They give cash to make films. Therefore, they become a producer. Producer, essentially, a lot of times is just about coming up with the money. You produce the money to make the movie. So it's not always about talent. That's where we have the problem. When you have a producer who's just money backer and doesn't have creatively the talent to back up the product, then you have the problem. But when you look at what Apple's doing, of course, they have the money. They don't care. They're just going to do whatever they want. And they want an Oscar, another one. They already have one. Netflix does not have a Best Picture, but yet, guess who does? Apple. And they might have two with Killers of the Flower Moon. I want to bring a couple things. We'll go back to Killers of the Flower Moon because I know you guys want to talk about that. There's a comment I want to bring in. Also this, Johnny, great question. I didn't talk about Brendan Fraser in Killers of the Flower Moon, and after seeing it second time, after sitting on it, I kind of put his performance aside when I evaluated the film because I didn't think it actively destroyed it, but it didn't enhance the film. Brendan Fraser clearly needed somebody to tell him to chill the F out when he came on set. He was definitely way out of control. He needed to be roped in. We talk about it all the time, modulating, right? Take that from an 11 to an 8, right? In his case, he's probably a 10. Give me a 10, give me an 8.5. Give me an 8, give me a 7, give me a 6. Right? This show is probably an 8 or 9. Sometimes I'm a 10 and it's out of control, right? No question, 11. And sometimes I've been like a 5. It's rare. It's very rare. In general, we're locked on about 8 or 9, pretty high. But Fraser's at like 10, 10 and a half, 11, and we need to dial him back. It's not a great performance by far. Definitely not. And this is fair too, Goober, 100%. Oh, here they come for me. Are we sure that Brendan Fraser had a fat suit on in The Whale? Are we certain? Because when I watched Killers of the Flower Moon, I was like, oh, they're coming for me. But Sarah, you thought that. You thought that. If you've seen it, you go, wait a second. He's like still really big. I mean, like, not, oh, I'm going to get in trouble just like Emily Blunt. Listen, he's an actor. We're allowed. She was making fun of a waitress who just was doing her job. We are picking apart an actor on the big screen. Granted, he's playing a role of an attorney, so he can be, Daddy War, but whatever, heavy. But oh my God. The Whale's so bad. I can't believe he won Best Actor for that film. That film is so horrible. It's such a terrible film. Guys, when history looks at that film, they're going to laugh at Coda. They're going to laugh at The Whale. They're going to chuckle at everything everywhere. What were we doing in the early 2020s? What was happening in Hollywood? Because everyone fell in love with the Brendan Fraser comeback story. They didn't evaluate The Whale being the worst film of the year. I mean, it was by far the worst screenplay of the year. If it wasn't the worst film, there was one other film I saw was terrible, but The Whale was way up there. But Brendan Fraser, listen, can I tell you one thing? I've said this before about Brendan Fraser, and I'm telling you it's the truth. You guys, whatever, this is what I do. I tell you what the reality is. One of the reasons Brendan Fraser fell out of favor in Hollywood, there's so many reasons, right? He's got a lot of things, but one of the reasons no one wants to talk about is the fact he was going bald. Wait, hear me out. When you are going bald, ask Billy Zane, when you're going bald in Hollywood, that's not good. It's really bad. Because you're only able to do one thing. Bruce Willis, shave your head, right? That's fine. It worked for him. For everyone else, for Brendan Fraser, I don't think you want to see him with a shaved head. He's not like Brendan Fraser. Let's just call it what it is. Not really the most attractive guy. Okay. So when you watch him, without hair, that's going to be a bigger problem. I've told you before the stars who have had hair implants. I can tell you right now who they are. You ready? 1, Matthew McConaughey. 2, Channing Tatum. Those are 2. I've heard George Clooney was the 3rd. These are people, if you go back and look at McConaughey for sure. Go back and watch Time to Kill. Was that the one he did? The Grisham movie? All the titles start to run together at this point of the show. Go back and look at him. He's receding hard. Okay, listen. Every guy worries about their hair. Trust me, even me. I'm like, okay, I still have some. It's going, but it is what it is. He got hair implants. And the other thing that happens when you get hair implants, you grow the hair long. Bradley Cooper, hair implants. Ben Affleck, hair implants. 100%. 100%. It's true. They might even admit it now if you asked them. Affleck, absolutely. I think Hugh Jackman at one time. There's a lot of actors in Hollywood who have either had work done on their hair or they wear a wig, right? And it's a really good wig. You wouldn't know any difference, right? Unless someone grabbed it. I was watching a pro wrestling thing the other day. You guys know I watch pro wrestling. I will watch Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Did you ever see that with Jim Cornette? He owned the promotion back in the Smoky Mountain territory. Well, there was, remember Sweet Stan Lane? Sweet Stan Lane, apparently for all the years, had a wig on. He had this like blonde hair, all this. He had a wig on, and if anyone touched his hair, he'd freak out. So you don't tell me that there's not other... Look, now you guys are all coming in like the plug save. I told you, Tom, this is what you get. No one else gets any other channel. And Elon Musk, hair transplant. Joel McHale, this is now turned into the who is not had Will Arnett hair transplant. One of the other things is they'll cut it really short and pull it down. It's not like I'm having some issues. It is what it is. I'm just happy that I don't have to cover too much, right? Like in the back, there's not like an ozone layer opening up, like huge. You know what I'm talking about? I saw a guy the other day. I'm not naming who it is. I'm just telling you, like, he had the hair and it was like swirled around and there was still like a big hole in the middle, like the ozone layer. And I'm like, dude, like, it's not looking good. But to him in the mirror, he's like, I'm going to sweep this shit around. Look good. Look at me. Sometimes it's better just to cut. No, he absolutely had plugs, Tom. 100%. Whatever. It's probably true. But the reality is that it's all accurate. I'm not like, if I was coming on here saying like Matthew McConaughey is a drug dealer, he deals fentanyl, right? If I was doing that, that's different. But if I come on here and say Matthew McConaughey had hair plugs, you guys are like, well, what are you going to do? Christian Slater, basically everyone in Hollywood has had hair plugs. Most, I don't know. I've never had them. At some point, at this point, I'm getting to the point where I don't give a shit. I would just shave my head, but not Brendan Fraser. Back to him. Oh, Weber, you're so mean. But he was losing his hair. What do you want me to say? Guys, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to be like nice? That's not nice. I'm just telling you the truth. If someone said to me, hey, you have ears that stick out, I'd say, well, maybe that's true. I don't know. Whatever. I can't control that shit. This is a good comment from earlier this morning. This is from the Breaking Box Office. I'll drag some comments from there. How much do you think the box office performance of Killers of the Flower Moon is going to affect the Best Picture chances? Oppenheimer still the favorite. And my reply to this was, great question. Let's discuss it tonight. So guess what, Rainmaker? We are discussing it tonight like I promised. The question is, will this lowish end debut by Killers of the Flower Moon affect its Oscar chances? Right now, no. If the film does not pick up, hold. It's not going to pick up. It's not going to go to 40 million next weekend. But what I'm saying is, if it can hold and drop 40%, 30, 20, whatever, let's say it miraculously holds at 35% next weekend, that you can start to build into, hey, it's not so bad. Right now, it's not a bomb. It's not came out like, remember last year with She Said, which was totally disrespected. Really strong film. But one of the reasons it was completely forgotten about, other than the fact that Hollywood didn't want to talk about Harvey Weinstein or even to bring the subject up, was the fact that it bombed when they released it, because it was still kind of the whole COVID scary thing. And so when that happened, then the narrative became it's a bomb. That's not what Killers of the Flower Moon has right now. But if it does not pick up over the next several weeks, we could turn it into something of, it's a $200 million film and it's only made $100 million worldwide. Right now it's at 44. Look at a 3 multiple of that. It's about 120, 130. That's still way under the budget, right? And remember, the budget's $200 million. That's not what it needs to make back. It needs to make at least, as I say, and I imagine most producers will back me up, probably 2.5. Let's go 2.5. That's $500 million. That, in that light, that's not good, right? Can you guys agree? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if I'm right. Okay, and I want to go to this other comment because this is another person here. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. This guy, Troy Bracey, LOL, the movie. Hold on, you guys can't see it. There it is. Let me make it bigger. LOL, the movie does not have a disappointing opening weekend. Palm to the face. And what does box office have to do with Oscar chances anyway? I don't know if he's replying to the other guy. I was just asking. Troy, now we know why you don't have a channel, because you don't even know what you're talking about. Of course it matters, dude. Troy, of course it matters, and it's also a $200 million film. It's on the disappointing side. Sorry, guys. It is. Oh, my God. The bad wigs that Travolta was wearing, 100%. 100%. He had terrible wigs. And then he shaved his head, right? Good question, Jam. Who's running the campaign for Killers? Apple or Paramount or both? I have not seen anything yet for Killers of the Flower Moon other than the big event, which was Apple headlined. I think it's going to be Apple, because Apple knows what they're doing. They handled Coda. They had plenty of events for that. So Apple knows what it's doing. Apple's going to be able to do it. They have a huge award staff. They're growing, I'm sure, because they have the money and they have the films. They have Napoleon coming up. Now, I know a few people that apparently have seen the film. I haven't heard directly from these people, but I know they've screened it. I'm not hearing wonderful things, but I am curious what that film is going to do. It's going to be one of those late droppers like we had with Nightmare Alley. Love that film. And whenever you're that late dropper, you need to be very good. If you are, that's going to help you because you're the last one in and people think they got recency bias, right? Apple handled the press screenings for it here, Mark. Yeah, but Paramount handled all the. Yeah, it's interesting because Apple was taking care of. Actually, we have out here in LA, we actually have PR agencies. So Apple hired one of the PR agencies. The PR agency has all the lists, and they send you the invites. Like I got the invite to the. By the way, I didn't even go. They invited me to the premiere, and I was like, nah, I just saw it. I don't want to go. That's where I am now. 5 years ago, I would have gone, oh my god, I'm going to the premiere tonight. Now I'm like, I just want to just see it on quiet and go home. I just want to go home and go to bed. I don't want to go to the party. I mean, it's not. Plus, if I show up, one of these guys sees me that says he wears hair plugs, and I get into a fight. I don't want to go get in a fight over me telling some actor they had hair plugs. I'm curious whether the rumors are true. Tarantino's casting Travolta in a supporting role in The Movie Critic. I can't wait. How great will that film be? I mean, especially if it is Paul, because Paul Walter Hauser is such a cool dude. I met Paul Walter Hauser at a Black Klansman party, which sounds so awkward, doesn't it? Where'd you meet him? I met him at a Black Klansman party. But I was at the Black Klansman party when I used to go to parties and get excited for those things. And I'm sitting there and I see Paul Walter Hauser, and I'd just seen the film, and I also saw I, Tonya. I walked up and go, dude, you're amazing. Like I really am a big fan. And also he had a New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt on, which I watched at the time, and we had a long conversation about wrestling. And Paul Walter Hauser is a real human being in Hollywood, which is rare. He's a Midwest guy like me, so that's probably why. And he was so outspoken on Twitter. I loved him for it. And then, of course, he got dragged because he was, the New York Times had their list of the best films of the year, and he's like, who's seen any of these? Whatever he said. And then everyone came after him, and he said, I'm going to violently get you. And the thing is Kuzma, I'm trying to finish up the show with a cogent thought. And you're telling me that tonight, see, this is why we're stuck on 2,000 subscribers for so many reasons. But the number one reasons is when you tune in, you get random discussions of who in Hollywood has hair plugs and, yes, Klan talk. But Paul Walter Hauser is an awesome dude. He's Midwest like me, and he's just unvarnished. And it's a shame that he left Twitter. I got to say, though, he's probably so much happier, because isn't Twitter just a hellhole? I now just tweet and disappear. I used to do it and look, and now I just tweet something and I go away, and I look 6 hours later, like, oh, that some people like that. I don't care anymore. I used to sit on it. It's like a drug. They say it's like cocaine for you, right? So I don't know. I don't do cocaine. I've never have, and I don't plan on doing cocaine. But I hear it's like that for your brain, the effect. So then I started to say, why do I care? I'm just going to send things and just go, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I've had things that blown up, have 1 million impressions where I said that, what's his name for Licorice Pizza? Wes Anderson is like Wes. I told you it's been too long. When you look at PTA, when you look at Wes Anderson's Licorice Pizza, when you look at PTA, and I remember I said, this is what happens when you let a director make whatever movie they want. You get Licorice Pizza, which is not a great film. I mean, my God, such a oh God, it's absolute mess. Right? It's individual scenes with no cohesion. And also, can we also talk, because I already done this already, could the leads have been any less attractive? Let's just be honest with each other. Can we, because we wrap the thing, can we just be straight shooters? Yeah, I was talking with Paul, and I'm going to do this, not Walter Hauser, but my good friend Paul H., Academy Picks. And I said, just answer me this question, going back to Licorice Pizza. And then I'm going to have to leave because I'm going to get attacked from hair plug people, from fat shaming people, from me saying, and I don't think he was bad, but just answer this and then we'll leave. I need you guys to play this game with me. Will you please indulge me on this? We all know Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the most talented actors that we have seen grace Hollywood in decades, in forever, right? He's such a talent, once in a generation kind of thing. If Philip Seymour Hoffman's son was not Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, would he have been the lead in Licorice Pizza? That's all I'm going to ask you. And I'm also going to ask you this. If Alana Haim was not the leader of a massively successful band, or, definitely, certainly a band that people know, would she have been the lead in Licorice Pizza? It's Dan, I was right about that film. I was 100% right on that film. And I understand it was, but they're just, you could have picked people that I didn't like either of them in those roles. I didn't like the film. It's a disappointing film. I was right. 100% that neither of them would have been in those roles. I'm 100% right. That's Nepo baby. Nepo baby. It's 100%, and you guys know I'm right. 100% correct. And that's how it would never. PTA is close with the Haim sisters from the van. They directed the exact, of course. I almost said one more thing that might have gotten me canceled. So I'm going to stop tonight before I already have to answer to all these people coming after me for Fraser and hair plugs, and I don't care anymore. It doesn't, as you can clearly tell from watching MMT, I don't care. It's over. We're close enough. You guys ready to wrap it? Back here on either Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday will be a tight Five Nights at Freddy's reaction. Thursday will be a longer discussion of the film and or the first reaction, plus box office perspective. Will it do well with that day and date Peacock? I hope that it doesn't, in a way, because that would tell Universal they fucked up. And Jason Blum, I've only gone at Jason Blum like how many times now? I don't know, minimum 10 times on Twitter for asking him as a journalist, dude, why is it day and date? He just keeps ignoring it. Jason, come on the stream. Let's go. Bring it. Roll up. Tell me why that film is day and date. The floor is yours. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, because I know I'm offering you the time. It could be a minute. Just come on real quick. I'll pop you up on the cell phone. You tell us why is it day and date, and that's all you need to say, and then you can leave. That's it, Schlacker. That's what the channel's become now. It's all. We should just rename it the Nepo Baby Midnight Movie Talk. Hair plug. Yeah. When do I ever hold back? All right. No, I'm not. That's where I get canceled, guys. If I start doing physique critiques of Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, we're not doing. See, that's cruel. I didn't do. As I get ready to hit the eject button, I didn't do a physique critique of Brendan Fraser in The Whale. I'm not that mean. I just said he looks like he's still in The Whale in Killers of the Flower Moon. Oh, God, I got to go. Peace out. See you guys Wednesday.